How do you communicate with parents as a teacher?
Typically email, unless there's a more serious concern, and then I'll do like a quick phone call. But if anything good is happening or anything like that, typically I'll just email. That's my first kind of point of contact. Very rarely do we send out letters or anything like that anymore. It's either email or phone call, 99% of the time.
What advice would you give me about being a teacher and using social media?
Don't be friends with your kids. I mean, that's like probably one of the biggest things. In some places, it's actually illegal to be friends with kids on social media. And I don't know. I mean, like we teach digital citizenship to kids anyway, so just using those practices, like just kind of policing what's on social media and paying attention to the kinds of things that you're posting and the kinds of things that you're being tagged in or whatever. I don't know, like it can be kind of a precarious situation. So while fair or not, I think in some ways teachers are held to a different standard of like behavior, especially when it comes to the court of public opinion.
Right.
And so to have teachers like showing things or having things on social media that don't reflect that can be kind of questionable. I think it's not as serious as it used to be, but I mean, in terms of social media, like just be careful, I guess, and just be aware of what it is that you're posting and how you're posting and all that kind of stuff. And then there are some teachers who are friends with like kids' parents, especially if they live in the area. So, being aware of what kinds of things that you're saying about your school or your district or your students especially is also really important if you are friends with like people in the community. But ultimately, I mean, it's just practicing any other kind of caution that you would, I think, with most other jobs when it comes to social media. So.
What collaboration do you do with your grade level team and content team?
So grade level team, we meet every day, and we talk about like kids and different supports and things. If kids are like struggling in multiple classes, we talk about what to do with them or what to do to kind of help them. Content level, we meet pretty much every day, and we talk about like curriculum and what we're doing and all of that kind of stuff. So for example, right now we're going to meet and talk about the new technology platform we're using, Classcraft. So we're going to talk about like what that's going to look like. But yeah, we meet designated once every other week, but we probably meet every day, if not every other day, typically for my content. And then team, like I said, we meet every day.
Awesome. What advice would you give me as a first-year teacher and as a student about to go to college?
Well, as a student about to go to college, just be aware that, like, I don't know, what you do, might not, like, so you want to be a teacher right now, and if that changes, that, like, that's okay. If that does, it may not. But just understanding that, and then take like as many classes as you can. Even, don't like overload yourself, but I think it's really important that you learn as much as you can, about as much as you can, just because it helps in a lot of ways when you become a teacher, not just your content, but knowing about other things, like, is just helpful, especially when it comes to English, because all of those things kind of fall in with English education. So you have to understand things about science and social studies and stuff in order to really successfully teach reading and whatnot. So I would take as many different kinds of classes as you can. And then in your first year of teaching, like, one thing that helped me out a lot was just really giving myself a lot of grace. So there's going to be stuff that you don't even know that you don't know. Like, there's stuff even now as a third-year teacher that I don't know that I'm supposed to be doing. I have no idea. But you've got to be able to accept that. And especially with teachers, it's hard because most of the time we are people who are very, like, conscientious, and that's part of why we become teachers. Because we were really good in school and we want to, like, extend that experience to other kids. But there's like a whole nother like world of data collection and of like parent contact and RTI and blah blah blah. There's all kinds of stuff. So really, like, figure out what you have to do and do those things. but understand that at the same time, like, there are things that you may not get to, and that's okay. Like, you're not going to be a bad teacher if you forget to collect data on one assessment. Like, that doesn't make you a bad teacher. You know, and prioritize yourself, because it's really easy, and nobody really, like, discourages you from doing this, but it's really easy to, like, lose yourself in, like, the mire of school stuff. And so it's really important that you like are monitoring your level of overwhelmedness, like your level of comfortability with things, whether or not you're doing like things that are actually important, or if you're just kind of like jumping through hoops that you don't need to jump through, like that kind of stuff. Especially in your first year, because you kind of breathe into some things that get easier as you go. Like, for example, my first year of teaching, I don't think I logged into my phone one time. Not because it's a difficult process, but because it's like a thing that I didn't need to do it, and so I didn't do it. So in the morning when I would get here, I would like do the things that I had to do, and that is one of them that I did not have to do. Now I usually log into my phone because like now I just remember to do it. And so it's just that process of like there will be things that you will eventually like will become second nature, but don't feel like you have to have all those things figured out right at that moment, because the first year of teaching is really tough. And if you find a few people, like other teachers that you can kind of connect with, then that's also really helpful. So like giving yourself grace, finding people who you can talk to say like, do I really need to do this? Do I not? I'm feeling really overwhelmed. That kind of stuff is really helpful, especially teachers, because nobody else, I think, really gets it besides like teachers that are in your building, especially. And then, you know, just understanding that you are a priority as well. So like you can't teach if you've exhausted yourself to the point of like, you know, being dead essentially. You know, that's not going to be helpful for kids either. So just taking care of yourself is really important.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yep.